Hello, my dear friend. Welcome to another episode of The Seven Living with the Planets. Today, I'm talking about Mercury and Mercury magic, specifically how the stories that you're telling, the words that are using, might be creating and reinforcing the realities that you are trying to escape. So, this is a pretty simple idea, right? Words have meaning. When we say things, we are casting the spell of that reality. And more specifically, we can create identities through our words. So I talk about this all the time. I feel like a broken record, but I'm going to do it again. The best example of this, my go-to example of this, you've probably heard me say this. I'm broke. I'm broke. When you say I'm broke, you are genuinely casting the spell of brokenness forever. You're saying that you are broke. That is what you are. English is a real fucker like this. Okay, so you are literally creating an identity around brokenness. What's an identity? It's what you are, it's who you are, right? We have a real fascination with identity right now in this country, in the world. Okay, we're really into identities. I do not recommend. Identities are something to be so careful with, right? So careful. You want to only give yourself the identities that are going to be the most empowering, the most aligned with the truth that you actually want to carry. Um, Even something like I'm a light worker. Okay. I have always bristled at that. Okay. I have bristled at that because you're saying I'm a person who works with own like light. And it's like we can do light work. But if a light worker is what I am, I'm putting myself in a box that says, and I can't handle the darkness, or I won't work with the darkness, or I won't approach the darkness, right? There's like a weird thing that happens there with identities where we inadvertently other any alternative to the thing that we have become when we take on an identity. Does this make sense? So when I say I am broke, I'm literally saying that's what I am, is broke. That's what I am. And so it's really hard to become wealthy if you are a broke person, right? The two, like broke and wealthy, do not coexist. They are mutually exclusive. And broke, of course, it's an abstract term, right? What does that even mean? To some people, it means like they own a mansion and they have tens of thousands, but they only have a little bit of cash flow, right? To them, that's like broke, right? And then to some people, broke means they don't have any extra money coming in every month, right? It's like no disposable income. To some people, broke means like they have no money at all. They have no money coming in. It's very subjective, yes. And we all have our own beliefs around what brokenness is. And so that's the version of brokenness. That's the box we're putting ourselves in. It's our own box. It's our own beliefs about what that word means to us. And that's the box we're putting ourselves in when we say I'm broke. So what I'm saying is the Mercury magic here is thinking about what are you saying? What are you casting into reality by speaking it? And I think the place and I'm really swept up here with identities because I think identities are the most powerful place where this happens because it's like I could say all day that like I have $1 million, I have $1 million and that's a totally different spell casting. There's no weight to that. There's no meaning to that, right? Because it's a binary thing. Like I either have that or I don't have that. And what does it even mean to have $1 million? Does it mean like having $1 million in cash? Does it mean having $1 million net worth? Does it mean having $1 million? I mean, you could see how like it's all very expansive. It's all very mercurial. What does it all mean? Right. But identities are so clutch because you can take on identities by through what you speak. it's what you tell yourself that you are, that you become. It creates the framework for how you live your life. Because if I believe that a broke person blows all their money, they never get to get what they want, whatever those beliefs are that I have around what it means to be a broke person, that's the reality that I'm going to create for myself, like unconsciously, right? This is what magic is. It's changing those beliefs, it's rewiring those identities. So when you change the identity, all the beliefs that come along with that identity, like each identity has a whole lot of baggage in the form of its beliefs, right? So if you instead say something like, I don't have the money for that right now, or I'm not going to choose to buy that right now, right? It completely changes the dynamic, right? Because suddenly it's a choice. You're telling yourself, maybe you really can't afford it, right? Like there's no way in the world that you could possibly get the money to buy like a Maserati, right? And you really can't afford it. But you could still, but just by even saying, I'm not gonna choose to do that right now. I'm not gonna choose to buy that right now. I'm not gonna choose to put my energy towards that right now. It changed, rather than saying like, "I can't afford it," or "I'm broke," or, something like that. It's a really different feeling. It's a really different spell that you're casting, and it's an empowering one. And so this is something that I really want to, this is like simple Mercury magic. Listen to the words that you're saying. Specifically, what are you saying that you are? And then what do you believe about what those things that you are, right? Like, I'm a good mom. What does it mean to be a good mom? What does it mean to be a good mom? You know, the beliefs that are associated with that identity of good mom are going to dictate how you feel like you should behave. There's a whole series of things that come along with that. And so telling the story of the reality that we want to create starts to shift things. If you've been carrying the identity of brokenness, of being a broke person for your whole life, and you start to relinquish that identity, let it go, like just even see that you have been doing that, even just see that you've been putting yourself in that box, you can start to free yourself and climb out of that box. Now, having said that, conversely, there are amazing identities that we can spell cast our way into. I'm abundant, or I'm powerful, or I'm capable, I'm willing, I'm able, I'm worthy. Those aren't, like, we want to create, I'm successful. What does that mean for you? That's what that is going to create. I'm good with money. I'm good with money. I'm someone who's good with money. I might not make a lot of money, but I'm good with it. So I'm good at making it seems like I have even more than I do. I'm good with money. There's You can see the expansion that's possible within that, right? Because if you can not have that much money coming in and do a lot with it, but you can like grow your money, you can get better at making money. There's so much available to you if you're just like, I'm good with money, so I'm not gonna do that right now. Like, I'm good with money, so I'm not gonna buy that thing that I quote can't afford, right? So I'm going to choose not to buy that. I'm going to choose not to do that thing. And you actually start to behave in ways automatically that support the identity that you're taking on. Now, there can be more to identity work than just like what we're saying, but this is simple Mercury magic. Identities can be formed and built upon repeated language, and what we say has weight, what we say has value. We can speak realities into existence, especially within ourselves. That's a lot of what ritual is. It's verbal, it's speaking things into our unconscious, speaking things into our psyche. So these beliefs are like the hidden stories behind those identities. And you can investigate those for yourself, because it's very idiosyncratic. You're going to have certain ideas around what it means to be broke, what it means to be a good mom, what it means to be good with money. And you even have the ability to question those and update them and become really conscious about what those beliefs are and investigate your hidden beliefs that you're maybe not aware of. Like, just even asking yourself, what do I believe about this? Or what do I believe about myself? Or what do I believe that I should be doing? I think that, especially like smart people, we get really trapped in these really clever things. And this is just like really simple spellcraft to release those identities. Like, even just saying, I'm not broke. Instead of every time you wanna say "I'm broke," just say, "I'm not broke, I'm good with money." Just say that instead. And this is where also, like, complaining, so just talking about the power of your words, the power of speech. Complaining reiterates the experience that you don't wanna be having, or do you? You know, if you're 'cause sometimes complaining is like we're pretending that we don't like it, but maybe there's a little bit of, like, juice in it, and we do. And so, like, if that's the case, great, go with that. Watch my, podcast, Penetrate Radio, to learn more about that. But, okay, if you're gonna talk about things that you don't like, how can you frame it in a way that's more empowering, more playful, that gives you more expansion, fluidity, options to opportunity to enjoy, opportunity to play, opportunity to have fun? Mercury loves to play, Mercury loves to have fun. And Mercury, by the way, is extremely mercantile. There's a lot of like trade and sleight of hand, and we can be really playful with our complaining and actually make it more fun for ourselves, right? By getting, getting ironic, or just like getting into the juiciness of it. I think irony is actually really amazing. My husband has this whole he has this whole spiel about how Americans specifically have really advanced humor. Like, we're so cynical because of our culture that it really takes a lot to make us laugh. We have like really high expectations for humor. He's like a comedy snob, but I think it's true. Like, he says we just have a particularly refined sense of humor. And I think there is some truth to that. And I think that irony can be really powerful, like medicine sometimes, to just let ourselves play with the frustrations that we're experiencing in life in an ironic way. It does just like loosen the rigid like tension that we feel about the way things are, about the things that we can't control because there's so many of them, right? So I would say, like, just thinking about specifically, what identities are you holding on to? What are you creating with your words? What boxes are you putting yourself in? This is Mercury magic, just very simple Mercury magic, is choosing maybe like 3 new identities, 3 more empowering identities that you want to shift into. So this is my homework for you for this episode, is like, what are 1 to 3 things that you say, and just listen for them, where it's like, "I hate my job. I suck at this. I'm broke. I'm a bad XYZ." Anything where you're using an "I am" statement in a disempowering way. How can you turn it around and create a more empowering identity for yourself? And maybe you wanna do a little ritual with Mercury to literally relinquish that identity. Maybe you wanna, like, sacrifice something. I don't know, there's a lot of really good magic here. I love identity magic. And I also do wanna just let you know that my dear friend Layla Matthews, who is an amazing Mercurial Gemini, like, magician, we have a course called Trickster that you can buy at any time. And so I'll share the link in my description of this episode. Mercury magic is so cool because with Mercury, it's like anything is possible, right? Mercury understands that the entire world is a projection of the mind. And so, from the standpoint of Mercury, like anything can be changed. Everything is changeable. Everything is up for debate. There's this fluidity that we can tap into, and it's like the essence of magic. I feel like Mercury is the ultimate magician deity, right? So if you want to like dive into that Mercury magic and go come on the ride with Layla and I, definitely check out that course. It's called Trickster, and it's really, really juicy. So in the meantime, I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching.